The Galactic Council had categorized humans as a Class 3 species, intelligent but harmless. By all measurable metrics, humans were physically inferior, weaker than the hulking Trovians, slower than the serpentine Lys, less technologically advanced than most spacefaring civilizations. The Council's science division had concluded that humans had evolved as prey animals, given their poor natural defenses and their peculiar psychological tendency toward cooperation rather than dominance. Ambassador Trell, representative of the Council, had been assigned to Earth for diplomatic relations. His species, the Vari, possessed 6 limbs and translucent skin that revealed the pulsing of their 3 hearts. The Vari were considered among the most logical species in the galaxy, free from emotional interference that plagued lesser beings. Trell had established a pleasant working relationship with the human diplomatic corps. Their latest meeting had included an unscheduled tour of a military installation, which the humans insisted was merely a gesture of transparency. The facility appeared primitive by galactic standards: concrete buildings, simple projectile weapons, and armored vehicles that relied on combustible fuels. During the tour, Trell noticed a group of soldiers performing what appeared to be a ritual. They stood in formation, perfectly still, while an older human placed medallions on their uniforms. "What ceremony is this?" Trell asked the human guide, a diplomatic officer named James. "Medal of Honor ceremony," James explained. "These soldiers faced extraordinary circumstances in our last border conflict." Trell tilted his head, his antenna twitching with curiosity. "Yet I see no physical differences between these individuals and others. What makes them extraordinary?" James smiled in that peculiar human way. "Would you like to speak with one of them? Lieutenant Davis just returned from the front. I'm sure he wouldn't mind sharing his experience." Lieutenant Davis was unremarkable by any galactic standard: average height, average build, with what humans called brown hair cropped short. His only distinguishing feature was a faint scar running along his jawline and a certain stillness in his eyes. "Lieutenant," James said, "Ambassador Trell is curious about your recent commendation." The soldier nodded respectfully. "What would you like to know, Ambassador?" "Your species' physical capabilities are well documented," Trell stated. "You lack natural defenses, possess modest strength, and have no evolutionary advantages for combat. Yet you are celebrated for warfare. I find this contradictory." Lieutenant Davis looked at Trell with those still eyes. "Would you like to know what it feels like to die, Ambassador?" The question startled Trell. In Vari culture, death was discussed, clinically, never experientially. "You have died?" "Clinically, yes. For 3 minutes and 27 seconds during the siege of New Belgrade." Trell's scientific curiosity overcame his diplomatic reserve. "Please describe this experience." "First, there's pain, sharp and overwhelming, when the plasma round hit my chest. Then a strange calm as shock sets in. Your body knows it's dying, so it floods you with chemicals to make the passage easier." Davis spoke methodically, as if reciting coordinates. "Your vision narrows to a pinpoint. Your hearing goes next, replaced by a high-pitched whine. You taste copper as blood fills your mouth. And you feel cold. A cold that starts in your extremities and races toward your core." The soldier continued, his voice never wavering. "In those final moments, time slows down. You think about strange things, a childhood pet, a conversation you had years ago, the smell of your mother's cooking, and you feel regret, not for yourself but for those you're leaving behind." Trell found himself mesmerized. Death discussions among Council species were theoretical, philosophical, never intimate. "The interesting part," Davis said, "is what happened next. I was gone, no heartbeat, no brain activity. But then the combat medic restarted my heart. I woke up screaming, not from pain, but because I wanted to finish my mission. My body was broken, but I was angry about being interrupted." Trell's translator must have malfunctioned. "Interrupted?" "I had teammates still in danger. My job wasn't finished." Davis shrugged. "So I made the medic patch me enough to continue. We completed the extraction. Everyone in my unit came home. But you experienced death, Trell said, struggling to process this information. Yes, and I decided it wasn't convenient at that time. Davis smiled slightly. That's what the medal is for. Not for being stronger or faster, for deciding that death would have to wait. Later that evening, Trell composed his report to the Galactic Council with trembling limbs. He detailed his findings with scientific precision, but included a recommendation that humans be immediately reclassified. The Council responded with confusion. Their analysis showed humans remained physically inferior, technologically underdeveloped, and mathematically predictable. What could possibly warrant reclassification? Trell's response was brief. Humans do not fear death. They recognize it, experience it, and then reject it when it interferes with their objectives. No species in our records demonstrates this quality. They are not prey animals. They are something we have never encountered before. One council member dismissed the report, noting that it contained emotional contamination and suggesting that Ambassador Trell be recalled for psychiatric evaluation. 6 months later, when human ships appeared at the borders of Council space, seeking reparations for territorial incursions, Trell's report was retrieved from the archives. By then, it was too late. The Council's dismissal of human capabilities had proven to be their most significant strategic error in 10,000 years of galactic governance. Humans, it turned out, had intimate knowledge of their own mortality and had decided collectively and individually that it was merely an inconvenience to be overcome. The galaxy would never be the same again.